Oscar Wilde said, consistency is the last refuge of the unimaginative. I tend to agree, and I wrote an article in my weekly column, Simply Speaking, on Storyboard 18, and it met with a tremendous response which motivated me to do this video. Now, it is of course well established that creativity and serendipity come together to create brilliant innovation. And if it can be done in a willful, disciplined way, so much the better. But the common mistake that is made is to make discipline and repetition and method lock-in to be the be-all and end-all of innovation and indeed of value creation in corporate life. You see, genius is a spectral concept. It appears in many forms. There is literary genius, technical and scientific genius, or genius in the performing arts. And of course, what it takes for that nature of brilliance and output is very different. But there is one thing that is common across all, and that is an urge, even a calling to do something different. Now, corporate success, on the other hand, prefers the mediocrity of diligent repetition. Nothing wrong with repeating things, but as you go on repeating them, you are essentially executing what was in its first avatar a brilliant plan, and naturally you then begin to get diminishing results. However, my view could come across as slightly prejudiced against mindless repetition, and there are many musicians, athletes and more who will tell you that disciplined repetition is the key to their success. But when we look at the origins of why business exists, to create meaningful value and to drive social change, then we realize repetition may not be enough, because civilization changes orbit, moves in a quantum capacity only by taking leaps away from just mindless repetition. It does not happen in small increments, it happens in giant leaps. Mindless repetition confines the thinking, and it focuses only on repeating and seeking excellence in incrementalism. Now, the risk with this is you are withdrawing from daring to explore the unknown, from taking those directions which have not been traversed earlier, risking mistakes, embracing unpredictability, and breaking those very routines that discipline enforces. And this could indeed be the vital ingredient that leads to those eureka moments which create humongous civilizational value. Corporate systems suppress risk, definitely avoid risk as a reflexive action, and it is understandable why, because their responsibility is to enhance value. Therefore, the change in perspective that is required is to see error as the vector that leads to hidden value. If you make mistakes, you learn, and learning leads to action. In any case, experimentation and validation is the bone marrow of the scientific process. Repetition can breed complacency, and it can lead to a not invented here syndrome, which means we close our minds to the outside, and this is not a great prescription for finding value. In my article, I have written about several cases, be it a Bob Dylan, Richard Feynman, Elon Musk, or Steve Jobs. And again, one thing is very clear: defy the norm, embrace risk, and have a willingness, even eagerness, to make mistakes. Because a mistake is actually a great thing. If you are proven mistaken, you validate and do not proceed in that direction. If you are, however, not mistaken, you have opened up a whole new canvas for greater value creation. Therefore, in closing, I must say, exploration is the mother of serendipity, and error is the mother of value creation. Think about your success in the jobs that you do, in the careers that you pursue, and I would say the prescription is quite clear: dare to be different. Thank you.